And as those two are coming forward, we'll start with Dean. And Dean's going to respond to the question of the practices that open theism might imply or relate with.
Yeah, I think one of the critiques might be what differences it make in the way in which we do Christian practices. And maybe the most crass form of critique, and crass might be the best way, is the old joke. What's the definition of ignorance and apathy? Don't know, don't care. And in some way begin to think that the fact that we don't know how God is at work, that it really wouldn't matter then about the nature of Christian practices or what they are. And that's fairly ludicrous. I mean, I hope you hear that. In some ways, our vision of God and our understanding of God deeply shape, inform the nature of prayer and worship and how we gather as Christian community, and even the way in which the responses up till now have gone, tell us something about the nature of the God that calls us into participation with God's good creation, God's self. Maybe a different way of understanding the critique is, has there been enough work done about the nature of Christian practices in regards to open theology? And I'd say there's been some good starts. David Basinger's chapter in intercessory prayer, for instance. But has there been a lot of extended work? That's a good question to think about. I think it's in places. It's definitely implied, I think, in a lot of ways, even why we would want an open theism in trying to articulate what we are called to do in light of the God that calls us into Christian practice is important, but maybe that's an area where down the road, understanding what Christian discipleship looks like through this kind of a theological lens is a part of the challenge that needs to be done. I'll close with one other thought, and I think it really is, what is our theology of participation when we think about Christian practices? I mean, think about the prayer that Jesus taught us. When you pray this phrase, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, is that a prayer of declaration, of confidence? Is it a prayer of intercession? Or is it a prayer of participation? For what reason do we engage in Christian practices? It would strike me that open theology takes seriously that the way in which we are changed, the way we conform and are transformed by the power of the Spirit is not just for our own personal sake, but it is to participate in God's ongoing redemptive plan and to be a part of that. And so I think there's a kind of importance to the way in which we are shaped and formed that open theology provides for us that makes this type of thing crucial for the future.
Excellent.